Joining me is Steve Geller, who's the Executive Director of the Southeastern Vermont Community Action. And Steve, so, you know, we talked a little bit about sort of the different pieces of the puzzle, the thing that you try to address to help people transition out of poverty. And I want to, right now, today in Vermont, or in your part of Vermont, our part of Vermont, what are the biggest challenges for people getting out of poverty?
Well, I would say there's primarily it's trying to earn enough money to be able to pay for the cost of basic needs like housing, food, shelter, clothing, et cetera, healthcare.
So is that lack of jobs in the area? Is that the jobs are there but the wages aren't sufficient? What is it?
Some of both. It depends on the field, and it depends, as always, on the skills that people bring to the table in order to get whatever jobs are available. One of the things that we've seen through extensive discussions with employers is that they often have jobs they can offer, but they have no candidates who they feel are coming to them with the basic core skills that allow them to be a good employee. So we've started a program we call Ready for Work, which we feel is going to be one of the most important things going forward to the vast number of people who have been shut out of the workforce or underemployed because they can't find the kind of job that will support their family, to get them up to the point where they can go to an employer and the employer can say, now I'm ready to train you in the specific skills you need for my job. But employers have been really concerned that they're not getting people who are even at that first stage where they're ready to be trained for their particular field.
So what is it that you have to have that is at the first stage?
Well, it's a lot. They have a lot of different names for it. We call it core skills. It's knowing how to, conduct yourself in the workplace. It's just basic presentation of yourself as a good, capable worker. It's interpersonal relations with the people and building teamwork with the people you work with. It's communication, to a huge extent. It's knowledge and familiarity with basic office tools, including the software that people use routinely now. It's a whole combination of skills and attitudes and behavior that allow people to function in a workplace, because people who have been shut out of the workplace, displaced homemakers who've never had a job or had very short or sporadic work history, really don't have a history and experience of knowing how to conduct themselves in a workplace. And so those kinds of basic first steps are what's needed to get people to the point where they're ready to be good, productive workers. And we're focusing on that a lot more.
And so this isn't necessarily really sort of college skills that you need as much as just fundamental core mindset. Or am I off in that?
No, and that's a big part of it. It's also some basic math skills, some ability to write and communicate verbally, orally, a whole lot of things that a lot of us in the middle class take for granted because we were brought up that way, and they almost feel like they're innate, but they were all learned at some point, and they're all based on the positive experiences we had in our youth and our and part of our adulthood, where we just absorbed that. And people who have been locked in poverty, sometimes for generations, have not had that benefit of having those models, those role models, and those the mentorship that we have had just as part of our upbringing that allows them to know exactly how to act in the workplace and what to bring to it.
How difficult is it to teach that? I mean, at one level, what I'm hearing is that this sort of is like for years of growing up, you learn it. Yeah. But you're trying to do it in weeks, days, months, or
weeks normally. But we also our program is unique in that it focuses not just on the classes, but on the one-on-one individual support that we give people. Because you're right, it doesn't always sink in, on the first attempt. And also, people who are in this situation have been turned off by the education environment. They'll sit in a classroom, it wells up all those feelings of failure they may have had in school. So we work very closely with them to overcome some of the barriers they may have psychologically and externally as well. Does my kid have quality childcare? How am I going to get to the job interview and then to my job if I don't have a decent car? All those kinds of things need to be addressed. And so programs like these take that into account. When you have the resources and you have people who are willing and motivated, it's not that difficult. It just needs everybody to come together and have the resources to have the instructors and the staff to be able to put the time into working with people this way.
Well, and thanks. We're out of time on this.